Hello, my name is Lucious Conway. I'm a certified addiction recovery coach and manager of Recovery Coaching Service of New York, LLC. What we do is provide services to individuals as well as to agencies. For individuals, we provide recovery capital building, access to community resources, and more importantly, we provide recovery wellness plan development, implementation, and maintenance assistance and guidance. This translates for agencies into increased client retention, access, quality, outcomes, and efficiency. We do it because we know that one size doesn't fit all. It began with me in my own recovery in a treatment program where I knew when I left that treatment program, I was not going to be relying on a group of people or even another individual other than myself. So I created my own self-directed wellness recovery plan and put it in a book. That book became this business, and now what I do is help others find their way. So I'm not just the manager of Recovery Coaching Service of New York. I'm also its first client.
And we're live. Hi, welcome. My name is Shira Goldberg. I am the host of The Addiction Show, for those of you who may not know that. Today I have with me someone who's pretty cool. He's a recovery coach in New York, and we get a lot of questions emailed to us through our various channels, and I was like, why don't I just call on Lucious and we can have a conversation about what exactly is recovery coaching, and as a client, what can you expect out of a recovery coach, the differences in credentialing. So we're going to try to cover as much as we can within this one show. So Lucious, thank you for joining us today and giving us your professional perspective on all of this craziness.
Well, thank you for having me, Shira. Always a pleasure to be with you and have fun here at the Addiction Show. So, you wanna start off with what to look for in a recovery coach?
Yeah, because I get a lot of questions, and I, as much as I love to respond to individuals or talk on the phone, time is always a very critical factor. So I thought we could just kind of introduce the topic of recovery coaching and how you do it, and see where we go. But let's try to cover as many questions as we can. But first, why don't you just tell us from your own expert point of view, what is recovery coaching?
All right. Well, recovery coaching, based on the Bill White theory and model. It's first of all important to note that there are several schools of thought with regard to recovery coaching. Everybody and their grandmother has an idea of what recovery coaching is and or should be. However, there is a young man, a gentleman, Bill White, I think he has a master's in social work, who's been in the field since the 70s, who actually developed the concept theoretically and kind of gave us some meat to work with. And it's from that model that I speak in terms of what recovery coaching actually is. It's also what the CCAR, Connecticut Community for Addiction Recovery curriculum, recovery coaching curriculum, is based on, and that's the curriculum, the educational curriculum required by New York State and Connecticut at the least. I understand that I've gotten calls from Michigan, recovery coaches in Michigan as well, who also came out here to take the CCAR curriculum. So other parts of the country also buy into this CCAR recovery coaching curriculum. On that thesis, it is the design of helping to ensure, recovery coach helps ensure client-directed care by assisting the individual to build the specific skills and relationships he or she needs in order to achieve and maintain recovery. It's achieved by mentoring, modeling, monitoring, and motivating the individual to develop habits and skills necessary for recovery. All the tasks are conducted from the perspective of client choice. So the recovery is actually guiding the process. As such, the recovery coach must be able to differentially apply, and this is critical. So this is where the expertise comes in. The recovery coach must be able to differentially apply the skill set to meet the individual needs of the client from where the client is in recovery. So that there has to be some expertise in being able to assess non-clinically where that client is and help that client get to where the client wants to go. There are core competencies, which are job tasks that certified individuals must be able to perform on the job, regardless of their employer or service delivery models. This is throughout New York State and Connecticut. This is the state criteria for what certified recovery peer advocate is what we're calling them. When recovery coaches go for state certification, not certification from an organization where I took the course and the organization gave me a certificate or credentialed me, this is where the state credentials you and says, okay, this person has passed state's muster. They have the education, they have the experience, they have the ethical foundation, and we're requiring them to update their skill set every 2 years in order to maintain their state certification. And here in New York State, and soon to be across the country, they are also eligible to bill Medicaid for their services. This set of recovery coaches provide recovery support, which is in terms of task to engage the clients in their own recovery and monitor that client's progress, seek assistance when the indicators of lapse or relapse are present in threatening the client's recovery. They do resource linkage and follow-up. They do life skills and wellness development, and they do legal, ethical, and professional responsibility tasks. And that's pretty much how recovery coaching works. It's what recovery coaching is, and it's a very broad brush way of presenting. It breaks down into 9 specific recovery support job tasks, 6 specific resource linkage and follow-up job tasks, 4 specific life skills and wellness development job tasks, and 7 legal, ethical, and professional responsibility job tasks, as determined by the state of New York, and the state of Florida also has those same particular constructs for state certification.
Okay, so let me just stop you there and interject. William White is a very renowned person in addiction. He has over 4 decades of research. He works for Chestnut Health Systems, and he has a master's in addiction studies. He's been really on the front lines, and he's on many different organizational panels. He's written books. His most recent is the revised book of Slaying the Dragon. So he's really, really important if you're interested in becoming a recovery coach. He's often quoted because he's done such an amazing and extensive amount of research. And you can check him out for yourself at William White Papers. Just Google that and you'll find he has such a great bulk of resources, and you can kind of see how he's captured the different point of views and mindsets throughout the decades of how do we address addiction. So that's why he's one of the most important people, according to me, that's involved in recovery coaching. And Lucious, he actually is pretty great himself. He hasn't mentioned it yet, but he's designed SOAP notes for the non-clinical coaches, which is what we are. We are not clinical. And because of his efforts, he's really helped recovery coaches in New York and Connecticut, just really put them on the map. So we will see that continue. But for most of the states, they do not have these high credentialing bodies and opportunities. So we're going to hit on that. I'll let Lucious continue, but he's going to also talk to you about what to look for in a recovery coach, because Not all are created equal, and this is something we actually talk about behind the scenes. So there's a lot of questions. So hopefully we'll get to as many as we can. We both get inundated with questions from individuals, so hopefully we can answer as many within the time period that we have. So, all right, Lucious.
Okay, and thank you for the underscore on Bill White. I think he's a fabulous guy, and of course set a tremendous foundation for us to be able to care for each other in terms of peer-to-peer and professionalizing the field of recovery coaching. And when I speak to you, I speak to you from the theoretical construct that he created and expanding on that. When we talk about what recovery coaching is, and I basically shared with you recovery support, resource linkage, and follow-up, life skills, wellness development, and legal, ethical, and professional responsibility as the primary domains within which recovery coaches function, and that breaks up into specific job tasks. But when you engage a recovery coach, if you're looking for services from a recovery coach, you're looking for primarily, in my opinion and experience, you're looking for someone who's going to teach you new skills you in the game. So at the outset, you want somebody that's a coach. A coach is on the sidelines, and their job is to help you tighten up your skill set and stay in the game. I'm reminded an analogy to Shaq. At one point, the great basketball player Shaq was having tremendous difficulties making free throws. And so they actually got him some psychological counseling to try to help him deal with whatever it was that kept throwing him off his game when he got on that free throw line. And a lot of times, a lot of us in life experience that kind of freeze or stress where normally we could function, but something happens when we get in a certain emotional position and we can't. So we need to expand our skill set to deal with those issues. That's where your recovery coach comes in. They expand that skill set for you, help you learn how to expand your skill set so you can stay in the game. And not just stay in the game, stay competitively and progressively in the game. So when you look for a recovery coach, from my perspective, I want somebody that's state certified. If my state is offering certification, they need to have that. That's number one, because the state is a watchdog. And that allows me to know that if this person messes up, I can sue and get paid. So that's one of my first concerns. Can I get paid if you screw up? I mean, do you have professional liability insurance? Do you have general liability insurance? Are you meeting the state standards? Who's setting the standards for recovery coaching in this state? That's what I want to know, and I want to know if you meet those standards. I want to know how much experience you have with my issue. So you want to find somebody who has peerness, what we call peerness, somebody who's been there and done that and can relate on those terms to what it's like to be addicted to substances, or what it's like to come from your background. You want some peerness there so that you have somebody you can relate to. Right. You want somebody who you can develop a rapport with. Were you about to say something, Shira?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Okay, you want somebody who you can have that you have rapport with, because communication is essential. It's necessary. So if it's somebody that you feel like immediately, I'm not going to be able to develop a rapport with that person, don't go any further, because this is a different kind of relationship than you and a counselor. This is going to be a real close person to you. So this is somebody you've got to be able to have rapport with. Gender and sexually orientated in a non-distracting way. We used to say guys work with guys and girls work with girls, but in our liberal society, sometimes a gay guy and a straight guy may not be the perfect match. On either of those, if the gay guy is the counselor or the recovery, sometimes that may not work because the sexual tension may create a distraction. And remember, at the essence of this thing, you want somebody who's going to build your skill set and keep you in the game, not somebody who's going to make you go gaga and now I want a romantic relationship with this. You're off track. You're automatically off track. So it has to be somebody whose gender and sexual orientation won't throw you. You have to be able to maintain the focus of, I need you to help me build my skill set and stay competitively in the game of life. And then somebody who's culturally competent, somebody who understands what it's like from your cultural perspective. Not experientially necessarily, but someone who studied and can relate to the cultural background from which you come and respect the boundaries or mores set by those cultural backgrounds. So it's somebody who if you come from a culture where you don't shake hands, it's somebody who won't be extending their hand to shake your hand. If you come from a background where there's not a lot of touching, they won't put their hand on your shoulder or whatever. So it's somebody who won't make you feel uncomfortable about your cultural background and who understands and appreciates that. You want that. The most important dimension of that peer relationship with your recovery coaching is emotional authenticity. You want somebody who can relate to how you feel, and somebody who can do so on an authentic level and not pretend that they understand, but somebody who's been there and really understands the emotional stresses that you've gone through, and you're experiencing. You want somebody who's humble, who maintains a sense of humility. The fact that I'm doing films now and I'm singing in clubs and I'm living my best life. I'm living my best life entirely, but that doesn't make me more than or better than someone else who may be a little earlier in their game. Because I'm further down the road, so it's understandable. And trust me, there are people who are further down the road than me. So no matter how high I get, it's always somebody higher, somebody further advanced. So you don't want somebody who's got the big head or somebody who feels morally superior. You want somebody you want somebody who works with you from a position of moral equity, moral equality. So I'm not better. I never drank and I never smoked and I never did that. You don't want that person. You do not. I mean, if the person never did those things, fine. But for them to lord it over you as if it makes them of greater character integrity than you, you don't want somebody who's going to make you feel less than. You want somebody who understands we're seeing each other on eye level,
right.
On eye level, and it's somebody hopefully you can admire and you can see them model the ideal life. You need that person should be a motivator, somebody who can motivate you, cheer you on, an ally, somebody who can be your friend and your confidant, somebody who's a truth teller, not to the degree that they dress you down, but in your sessions they're honest with you, and not so much in an aggressive, in an overtly direct way, because we use motivational interviewing to share truth, to help elicit it from you. So you're looking for that kind of a person. You want somebody who can role model and mentor. So it's somebody who you can look at and say, I like their life. I like what recovery looks like on them. Mm-hmm. So if it's not somebody who makes you feel like, hey, you wear recovery real well, I wonder if I can tailor it to fit me. And that person, absolutely you can. Let me show you how. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for someone who's a problem solver, not your problem solver, but a problem solver, who is someone who can help you identify and help you resolve your personal and environmental obstacles to recovery. Somebody who's a resource broker, who knows how to link individuals and families to formal and indigenous sources of sober housing and recovery, conducive employment and health and social services. Somebody who knows people in where you live, because this person is going to build a network of support where you live. So they need to not know the agencies. They need to know people in the agency. So, and if they don't, they need to help you understand that they will find the people to hook you up with and show you how you can develop that same skill. Someone who will advocate for you and show you what advocacy is and help you understand how you can be that. Now, in some cases, some of us are like real shy, real reserved, real conservative, and will never be that outgoing person who can get in, hey, listen, I have a right to this. Some of us will never be that person, and it's okay. but there are people who will be your mouthpiece, people who will speak for you no matter what strata of life you come from. If you've got lots of money, if you got no money, in your community, that recovery coach should be able to find specific individuals to refer you to, take you to, introduce you to, warm handoffs that will be able to be that. So you can contact that person, say, hey, listen, here's the problem, can you help me with this? And that person will advocate for you. So until that's in place, the recovery coach does that for you and helps you learn how to do that for yourself and or find resources, connect you with resources where that will be done with recovery coaches off the scene. Because recovery coach's job is not to be 24/7 your guide dog. You know, it's somebody to cheer you on. Get your skill set up, get you back in the game competitively. A community organizer, and that's the guy that helps pull, you know, restore family rifts if there are some of those that can be restored, and pull together your team. And then your lifestyle consultant, somebody to help you determine who you want on the team, psychiatrist, therapist, nutritionist, who you want to. That's what we call a lifestyle consultant, someone who helps you figure those things out. And lastly, you want somebody who's going to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's what you're looking for when you interview a recovery coach.
See, now I'm really glad you brought that part up. So this is a great example of two coaches that don't necessarily have the exact background. I do not believe in including friendship in a relationship with a client. I prefer professional distance because I don't want that to be encumbered or potentially manipulated, and I feel like they have enough friends. So they have me in a limited capacity and in a very specific capacity. So what Lucious and I are showing you is that you have to ask questions, and you have to, like he said, you have to feel comfortable with your coach. Sometimes the matches don't work, and that's okay, because your recovery is your recovery. So it's not about hurting the feelings of the coach or trying to change who you are to, you know, fit in at a more comfortable level. It should feel comfortable. So like for me, I have a contract with my clients, but I have no problem if it's not working for them. We do sever that contract. If there's a way that I can help promote their recovery and refer them to someone like Lucious with his orientation and background, that is another aspect coaches do. I think we really work together, and we work together well, because just like in a relationship, not every person is going to be attracted to every other person. You know, we're not just handing off. We're really kind of presenting this as in a way that's individualized. So by us being able to kind of define how we do our coaching, and Lucious accreditation, and what's happening on the East Coast, what's happening on the West Coast, in everywhere in between, there are some distinctions. So both of us, actually, we do work with clients online. So I Skype. Lucious, you do too, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we are available nationwide. You don't have to live in New York to work with Lucious, and you don't have to live in California to work with me. And another.
Well, actually, Shira, excuse me. Actually, I have clients in India as well, so I'm international. I provide services internationally. Yeah, and primarily through the Skype venue and social media. We do utilize Facebook instant messaging and email as well. And on occasion, we have phone calls, but phone calls are very rare. It's usually the Skype and the social media that we utilize. But
yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because what I want to do in this show is to just to really introduce what recovery coaching is, you know, and not just by the credentialing aspect, just real people. Like what can someone expect while working with the coach, and how is the coach different than, because we're not free for the most part. So how are our services different from something, say, from the AA model in working with the sponsor? How are we different than working with a counselor or therapist? So we are all on the continuum of healthcare professionals in working with someone in their recovery, but we all have different capacities, and sometimes those capacities overlap, which is great for a continuum of care model. But we all, each of us, even as individual coaches, we have different perspectives on things, and we have different backgrounds, and you know, and you also said about culturally competent. I really think that is one of the most important aspects of coaching, because we're always saying, you know, meet the client where the client's at, but if you really aren't familiar with their background and are not eager to learn about it, I don't think that would be a good fit either. So we're going to bring up a whole bunch of stuff. We're probably going to run out of time. We'll keep going right now. But if you have gained anything from this interview so far, feel free to ask questions. And Lucious, the other thing I wanted us to touch on together is how to decide what questions to ask as far as background, and because only in certain states, like you mentioned, New York and Florida, Connecticut, have state credentialing, right?
Currently, to my knowledge, currently.
Yeah. So as this unfolds and becomes more regulated, all of our credentialing will you know, come a little closer together. But I see a lot of coaches really promoting themselves on social media, which is a really important element of being a coach, because people have to know that you're around and know who you are a little bit so they can call you. But I see also there's a part that makes me really uncomfortable, is there's some coaches that it seems like that's all they're doing, this mass marketing, and it's more about selling and sales and than actually being with the person. So have you seen that on all your social media?
Well, what I experience a lot more, and I get a lot of spam from coaches who keep encouraging people to enroll in this recovery coach training,
Yeah.
because you can make all of this money as a recovery coach, and I've got all of these credentials as a trainer, and I'll teach you how to do this and that and the other thing. And really, the real I think probably ironic part of it is there is no course to teach you how to document, save the one that I provide. And so out of all of this recovery coaching, there's really no real accountability or responsibility mechanisms if
Right.
there's no documentation methodology. Even in the clinical realm, where you have counselors and social workers and therapists and psychiatrists, all of these people have to make SOAP notes to get paid. They have to have documentation for insurance purposes, for billing purposes. They have to, because it says what happened when we were together. It's a record of what happened when we were together, and it's a way to keep track of where you started and where you end, where we're going. If you're getting better, if I'm delivering on my promise to provide you with adequate, competent, excellent services, and if you're learning new skills and staying in the game competitively and winning, and those are the determinants. It's not just about hanging out and talking, and it's about getting results, and it's about documenting those results. So with all of this, you know, become a recovery coach, and it's a wonderful thing to want to do. That I'm not saying it's not. It's a wonderful thing to want to do. But if it's something that you want to do, dig deeper than the hype. If you dig deep enough, I'm sure you're going to find Bill White at the bottom of all of that stuff. You're going to find him as the foundation for where this came from and what we're actually building on. So yeah, I get it a lot. And at the end of the day, where's the proof of what you do? Because I had a panel a couple of years ago on recovery coaching and the various methods that are utilized by various people, including Patty Powers, a sober coach who did some time out in L.A., sober coach, sober companion, and was on the A&E program. I forget the name of the program. But people who have these varying notions of what it is. In order for it to grow as an industry, and that's what we're working on, it's a new profession. In order for it to grow, there has to be a common standard. And that common standard is growing out of the Bill White model. And we've got different curriculums, but the one that I've seen most productive, positive, and embraced nationwide is CCARs. I've seen people come from all over the country to take the CCAR curriculum. I've had people, because I've got a non-clinical documentation workshop coming up, partnered with CCAR in March. I've had people contact me from all over the country about that workshop. So I know that CCAR's curriculum has been bought into by a lot of people, and trust me, it's $150. And yeah, people say, well, it's just a brief curriculum. Yeah, but in order to go further, for example, in New York State, it's just the start, an educational start. You also have to get some medication-assisted therapeutic training and treatment training. You have to get additional ethics training. I mean, so it's a beginning. But once we level that playing field for understanding that just because a person says, I'm a recovery coach or I wrote a book, does not mean that they're ready to provide services. We're looking for people with expertise in helping others develop skills and stay competitive in the game of life at the end of the day. That's what we're looking for.
And that's a really good point too. Is, you know, what it really boils down to is certification in any capacity is really the requirement of whatever organizational body or your state that defines the minimal amount of standard for that profession. That is just where we begin. So as a coach, it's a lifelong learning process. The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know, and you continue in search of knowledge. And that only benefits the people that you work with. And what Lucious also was talking about regarding, I get spammed all the time, and I used to get a little like pissed about it, like, oh, do you want to be a recovery coach? Here's how. Take my seminar. And I'm like, I am a recovery coach, you know. So
yeah.
And so it just shows me that I got on some mailing lists, and you know, they found MailChimp or Constant Contact, and you know, it's I think they're shared lists because I get very repetitive spam. So for people who are interested in working with a coach, I would really suggest most coaches give you at least a half-hour consultation to talk to them and use that opportunity to ask questions, because a lot of these coaches, which makes me, I don't know, it irritates me, I guess, because they're really so good at marketing and PR that it seems like they're more focused on that than actually seeing if it's a good fit with this potential client. So you don't have to sign on the dotted line. Call and ask questions, and call a few coaches and see if they feel like a good fit. Because if it's a really authentic coach, like, of course, like me and Lucious.
Of course.
Of course, like us, then they will welcome your questions. So feel free to ask these questions, and you have them on the phone, and then also see follow-up. You know, are they hounding you? And that's my other style. You know, I am not salesy. I hope you would like some information to work with me, but if you don't, you know, then I'm here for you in the future if that comes as a result of getting to know me. But you know, there's a lot of people that are spammy, and they're like, take my class, you know, I'll teach you how to be a recovery coach, and they seem to be more focused on getting more recovery coaches trained and under their certification, which means nothing. you
Right.
know,
It's just they took the course, they take the course, and then they well, I went to so and so's course and I got this, and here for me, because several states have adopted the CCAR curriculum as a core educational requirement, it's a good indicator that it's probably going to wind up as a national standard.
mhm,
Um, that's number one. Number two is the idea that a lot of people are now interested in becoming recovery coaches. It's a great thing, but I know people who are drug counselors who thought, oh, I'm going to become a recovery coach and I won't have to do as much documentation.
mhm,
Wrong idea. Recovery coaching requires documentation as well, especially if you put out a shingle. If you put out a shingle as a recovery coach and you do not incorporate, everything you own personally is up for grabs if you get sued. And if you want professional and general liability insurance, you must incorporate. And then the insurance companies are going to require that you document your sessions. And if your sessions run longer than an hour, imagine how much you have to document. So in that construct, there's no bill that's created without documented meetings and what happened during the course of those meetings. That's where the SOAP notes come in, subjective objective assessment plan in each session, no matter how long the sessions are. And without that, you have no way of really substantiating that you're able to provide services. So when you say, well, I want to become a recovery coach, you've got to see the real picture of where this industry is going. It's going to be documentation, because you're going to be able to bill, you're going to be ultimately state certified, and you're going to be able to bill directly to Medicaid, because we're moving away from the system of residential rehabilitation. And they want recovery coaches in the field working in the communities of individuals with substance use and mental illness disorders. So that's where we're going. So if you want to go, come on along, but understand, count up the cost. And it's more than just a little course to teach you a few things, and you have to constantly stay up on best practices, because it's not going to, we're not going to get less informed. We're going to become more informed. As a coach, you're responsible to upgrade your skill set, because you're helping others to learn how to upgrade their skill sets. So it's very important to continue that dynamic. And while we're receiving, because like you, Shira, since we announced that we were doing this, the non-clinical documentation workshop with CCAR in March, I can't tell you how many calls I get on the weekends and the evenings, and it's like, okay, I lead a full, rich life. Like I said, I just finished a film. I'm starting another film soon. I gig every weekend, so I'm living my best life, my dream life. And so in order for me to stop and talk with you about becoming a recovery coach, that's time, which is money, which translates into money. So in some schools of thought, which I ascribe to, the labor is worthy of this hire. If you want the benefit of the experience that cost me a whole lot of blood, sweat, and tears, then I have to transfer some of that cost to you, because my internet service isn't free. My telephone it's not free. So all of those things cost me. So it's only right if you need me to share with you the information that I've hard gotten and paid for, then you need to be able to give me some money to say, hey, listen, can you guide me through this process? And I can help you. I'm not going to break you. I mean, my idea is not, I don't want to break you, but I do want you to pay for the time, because most of in my experience, people get what they pay for. If you don't pay for it, I get people who call me and just an hour just to ask them, okay, so now I want to open a sober house. So now what do I do? Okay, now, and what if I do? And it's like, okay. At the end of that conversation, I'm out of time. I've used my resources to answer your questions about your dream, and I have nothing to show for it. And that's just not the construct that I want to pass along. So I can answer your questions. I can consult with you. I'm available for that, because I'm understanding that I get a lot more, Shira, I don't know about you, but I get a lot more people interested in being recovery coaches than interested in actually utilizing recovery coaching services.
I totally do. If I would, I'm glad we're bringing this point up too, because this is just the reality of what we're doing. This is a big aspect of it. I cannot possibly field all of the emails and phone calls I receive about, gee, I'm interested in recovery coaching as as my niche, and what are your thoughts about that? I'm thinking, I'm a recovery coach. What do you think my thoughts are? Or you know what I mean? It's like, what do you think about recovery coaching? And for me, it was I was drawn to it. It was a passion. It's a part of my journey. I didn't just decide because I took a seminar how to make $10,000 a month in passive income, be a recovery coach. And I'm airing dirty laundry here, but this is the reality of it. I'm on a lot of forums that say, take this seminar for $2,500, and we'll show you how to get all these clients, and you don't even have to work anymore. And just the way they're presenting coaching is really disenchanting, because I work very hard as a recovery coach, and I have a lot of word of mouth, and it's because of the way I present recovery coaching, but it's also the way I feel about it. I'm very passionate about it, just like you are. So for people that are interested in asking me, well, how do I become a recovery? Oh, that one drives me crazy, Lucious. I get I'm about to go off, because it's like, do you have Google? Google it. I don't have time to hold your hand and say, well, this is where you should go. But do your own research. I mean, how can you expect to have clients that you're going to help in their life if you want me to hold your hand and show you for free how to be a recovery coach and what to
and let me underscore for free, because listen, I am more than happy, and I'm sure that you would be more than happy to let them benefit from our experience for a price. Because you can avoid the $2,500 seminar, and you can avoid the $1,500 class or course. You can save yourself a whole lot of time and money if you come to somebody who knows it, who's doing it, and who understands where it is and where it's going. And maybe a couple $100, you get an hour or two of some consultation. You walk away with some more knowledge than you had before, and more direction, more clear, specific, focused direction on what you may or may not want to do as a recovery coach. Saves a whole lot of time, a whole lot of money, and a whole lot of headache. But all of the idea that you can continually call, and it's not like we're sitting around twiddling our thumbs waiting for somebody to call and say, hey, what do I do to become? That's not what's going on. I pride myself. I pride myself on being a very busy guy who's living his ideal life, and my recoverees, my clients, love the idea that I'm helping them. But then I also got this little celebrity kind of thing going, and they get a kick out of that idea that, hey, well, my coach was in a movie, and my coach is an actor, and so that they understand I'm a multidimensional individual. So I don't just and I'm passionate about a lot of stuff. So I'm not sitting around and waiting to just answer my phone and answer your questions about becoming a recovery coach. But if you're ready to invest more than a call, more than the price of, if you're ready to invest some money in the knowledge, we've got it for you in spades, in droves. We got it. We've got the knowledge. We can tell you exactly what's up, what's going on, how to get where you want to go. If you want recovery coaching services, we've got you. We've got you covered. The idea is that the laborer is still worthy of his hire. You still need to be able to pay, and you need to be prepared to pay. If you cannot pay, there are free resources, as Shira was indicating, that you can find online. If you go to my website, you'll find every tool I use in recovery coaching right there on the website to download. Every form that I use to provide my sessions is right there on the website. And I attempt to explain to some degree how you may utilize those forms. If you do not understand that, then you need to contact me and talk. And then we're talking about money. But up until then, you've got all kinds of stuff, resources just laying around for you, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, and also too, if you want to talk to anyone, if you feel like you're, and I wanted to kind of wrap this up because I mean this conversation Lucious and I have once in a while, and that's why we decided to do a show about it because, you know, we're just able to in this limited amount of time to just kind of touch on a multitude of areas and aspects of what recovery coaching is, but you know our time is limited. There's so much available online. Like he said, forms on his website. Get your information together, when you're ready to, when you feel like you're really ready to present your ideas and your questions to someone like who's already an active recovery coach. You know, schedule a time with us, because I have to tell you, Lucious, out of all these calls and emails, I've never once heard anyone say, "I want to do this for free." But they, you know, you can't expect us to want to help. We don't have the time, and we give in different capacities all the time. You know, but we have to be role models for having healthy boundaries and having a life that's balanced. And you know, and we're not a call center. We're real live recovery coaches living a balanced and healthy life, and that's what we want to impart in every aspect that we do. So if you want to talk to us, you know, make an appointment. So I know we're going to get a lot of questions and comments about this show. Like I said, it's just impossible for us to touch on everything, but we did our best, and I think we covered a lot in this amount of time. So if you're interested in contacting Lucious, his website is provided below, and everybody knows how to contact me, theaddictionshow@gmail.com.
Before you go, Shira, before you go, I want to say that if they want to contact me, the best time is now, because someone was saying to me, am I going to do more non-clinical documentation workshops? And I explained to them that through the federal program that I'm now a part of in terms of providing recovery services to those passively enrolled in insurance programs here in New York City, it's probably not going to happen, because as things are going, I'm becoming busier and busier, and so my time is becoming more and more limited to be able to even do the trainings, because people need services. And so the provision of services requires a lot of time. And so as I'm doing the coaching, the limited time that I have, I'm doing films. Hey, listen, okay? Because I want to be a movie star too. And I'm singing because I love singing. So I'm not giving those things up to do a non-clinical documentation workshop. I'm not doing that. That's the balance. That's the balance for me. I'm providing recovery coaching services, and I'm doing my thing. So if you want services, you need to get in this window that's available, because after a while you're going to get a voicemail that says thank you, blah blah blah. If you want to schedule an appointment, blah blah blah, and at some point you may even get the thing that says the person's voicemail is full and cannot accept any more messages. It's just the way things are going. So, I mean, I'd love to be able to do something for you, but the time to do something is now.
Isn't that the only time we have?
It's really the only time we have, Shira. Right now.
Okay, we have to leave it on that, because that just sounded so good. So you can contact Lucious. He's everywhere. He's just getting more famous by the minute. So I'm glad I could say I knew him now.
Yeah, exactly.
On his rise to superstardom. But yeah, please contact us once you're ready to schedule a consultation. We just can't possibly answer and dedicate so much time that's necessary. You know, we're shortchanging you, and we're shortchanging ourselves. But there's a lot more questions. We and both of us are open to doing another show if people want to email questions. And but yeah, if you want to just talk to us one-on-one and take some tips from this show, do your own research, see where you're at, and then you know, just be smart about it. if you don't expect your clients to be codependent, you can't be codependent on us either.
Right.
Yeah, amen. All right, so thank you so much, Lucious. We will see each other again probably very soon, and until then, I bid you adieu.
Adieu. Take care, Shira. Always fun being on the Addiction Show.